Welcome to this place called Earth, and the project, Moral and Ethical Inversions. In this short, silent integrity, choosing not to explain yourself, take a moment, let your breath arrive in your body. Think of a time you started explaining yourself, and halfway through, you realized, I don't actually owe this person a justification. That's the space we're entering now. We live in a world obsessed with explanations. Why didn't you reply? Why can't you come? Why are you setting that boundary? Why don't you drink? Why are you leaving this job relationship group? Underneath these questions is often an unspoken message. Your autonomy makes me uncomfortable. Give me enough information so I can feel in control again. When you reflexively over-explain, you step into a subtle courtroom where your life decisions are on trial, and the other person has assumed the role of judge. Most people don't even realize they're doing this. And most of us, conditioned from childhood, just step into the dock and start defending ourselves. Why we over-explaining is almost always rooted in fear of disapproval, fear of conflict, fear of abandonment, a history of being guilted or shamed for having needs, conditioning that love safety must be earned with good reasons. So your nervous system learned, if I explain well enough, I won't be punished, rejected, or misunderstood. The problem is that logic turns your life into a constant negotiation. Every no becomes a performance. Every boundary becomes a presentation. Every decision becomes an argument to win. Ethically, you're putting your own sovereignty up for debate. Explanations and power explanations are not neutral. They're about who holds power in the interaction. When someone keeps pressing you, yes, but why? I just don't understand. You owe me an explanation. They're not actually seeking understanding. They're seeking leverage. Information about your motives, fear, and guilt points becomes material they can use to persuade you, pressure you, undermine your choice, frame you as irrational, keep you in the old pattern. Now, not everyone asking questions is manipulative, but the dynamic is still important. The more you feel compelled to explain, the less free you feel to choose. Silence as ethical self-respect. Silence, or minimal explanation, is not always avoidance. Sometimes, and often it is, self-respect, clarity, refusal to enter a power game, a boundary drawn in the simplest possible way. There is a difference between no, and I'm not going into details, this is just my limit, versus no, but I'm so sorry, it's because of this, and that, and I really wish I could, and don't hate me. The first approach treats both of you as adults. The second position puts you as a subordinate, and the other person as your emotional gatekeeper. The ethical side of not explaining yourself is ethical when you're protecting your mental health or nervous system. You've already communicated clearly before, and repetition would be self-betrayal. The other person has a track record of twisting, minimizing, or weaponizing your reasons. You're setting a boundary that exists because you exist, not because they approve of it. Autonomy is a moral good. You are allowed to make choices based on your own inner compass without putting them through someone else's approval process. When explanation is healthy, there are situations where explanation is an ethical responsibility. In a position of authority, parent, leader, therapist, manager, where your choices affect others' well-being or livelihood. When you've changed an agreement and the other person is reasonably impacted. When an honest explanation can prevent harm, confusion, or unnecessary insecurity. But even here, explanation should be clarifying, not self-erasing. You can say, here's my reasoning. It's okay if you don't agree, but this is the decision I'm making. That's different from, please agree so I can feel like I'm allowed to live like this. Practice prompt. Next time you feel the urge to over-explain, pause and ask, if I say this, am I informing them or auditioning for their approval? Would I still make this choice if they never fully understood it? Do I feel smaller or bigger after explaining myself to this person? If you feel smaller, you have handed away more power than you needed to. So to close this short, you don't have to turn every decision into a courtroom drama. You don't owe your inner workings to people who don't treat them with care. Silence is not a weapon, it's a boundary.